To the Pacific University class of 2021, faculty, staff, family, and friends, I'm pleased to welcome you to our undergraduate virtual commencement. Today, we celebrate the tremendous achievements of our students who have not only reached an impressive milestone in their lives, but who have done so under immensely challenging circumstances. We celebrate your academic accomplishments, but also your perseverance, your strength, and your hope. Thank you for joining us in this celebration. In the course of this video, we will hear from our university leadership, faculty, and our undergraduate valedictorian, and we will recognize each member of our class of 2021 as we confer their degrees. We hope you will help in marking this particular occasion for our graduating students by sharing your congratulations in the comments or on social media, or by taking a moment to reach out to students with your notes and phone calls. In the meantime, I invite you to enjoy the following tribute to the Pacific University class of 2021.
President Hallick, distinguished faculty, resourceful administrators, proud parents, and amazing graduates, congratulations. I am Frank Baldwin, an alumnus of Pacific University since 1967, and for 50 years an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ. It is a privilege and a great pleasure for me to be invited to offer an invocation to this commencement. Those who founded and sustained Pacific University, and all those who have taught and learned here, have faced crises and obstacles in their time. These challenges, educational, financial, spiritual, aspirational, have often appeared to be nearly insurmountable. There have been wars, epidemics, depressions, fires, political, religious, and curricular disagreements, crises of leadership, and overtaxed resources. There were years in the 19th century when the entire student body numbered fewer than 20. But perhaps no generation before this one has been confronted with so many serious challenges and crises within the course of a single year. And still, through all the limitations, restrictions, uncertainties, adaptations, and hardships necessitated by the pandemic, through racial injustices, cultural wars, and economic distress, through devastating wildfires, social unrest, and almost unimaginable political chaos, you have endured and persevered, discovering your powers, creating community, inventing solutions, staying the course, and arriving now at this day of graduation and commencement. Many of us will be conscious today of those we have lost in recent months, the family members and friends, the colleagues, neighbors, and others close to us who would have given anything to be with us today. And so, before concluding with a prayer, may we pause together for a moment of respectful silence to remember them in gratitude and love. Holy presence, never far from us in times of trial and rejoicing, inspiring our quest for wisdom and truth, moving beside us in the struggle for a just and sustainable world, inviting us to explore the heights of community and compassion, grace and gratitude, forgiveness and love. Thank you for these new graduates and the knowledge and hope, the courage and creativity that they carry forward into their lives. Thank you for all those who have taught and learned with them, enabled and empowered them, befriended and accompanied them to this day of accomplishment and celebration. And thank you for today, for the opportunities, abilities, adventures, and relationships that have come our way through Pacific University to remain with us in all the days to come. Amen.
Greetings and aloha. It was my sincere hope that I would be able to convey my congratulatory remarks to you in the setting of our beautiful campus in Forest Grove. However, as we are too well aware, the events of the past year have forced you and the university to make adjustments to the last phase of your academic journey at Pacific. As you have done throughout your tenure at Pacific, you have looked adversity in the face, persevered, risen to the challenge, dealt with worrisome distractions in the world around you, and accomplished what you have set out to do when you first set foot on Pacific's campus. While we on the Board of Trustees are very disappointed with not being able to be with you in person to celebrate the culmination of your journey at Pacific, please know that we are with you in heart and mind and are extremely proud of what each of you has accomplished. On behalf of the Pacific University Board of Trustees, and as a member of the class of 1973, it is therefore my distinct honor and pleasure to join your family, friends, and the Pacific community in congratulating you, the members of the class of 2021, on your achievement of this very important milestone in your lives. My fellow trustees and I wish to welcome you into the fold of the men and women who have come before you as true alumni of Pacific University. Commencement is the beginning. And in that vein, the Board of Trustees and I wish you the strength, opportunity, and Godspeed as you chase your dreams and achieve success in the next phase of your life. Congratulations and best wishes to each and every one of you.
And now, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our president, Dr. Lesley Hallick. Lesley became the 17th president of our institution in August 2009, and since that time, she has demonstrated her deep commitment to the university mission of discovery and excellence in teaching, scholarship, and practice, as well as to Pacific's foundational identity as a small, personal learning community. She has nurtured the growth of Pacific University as a premier academic institution in the liberal arts and sciences, as well as in the preparation of teachers, health professionals, and business and community leaders. And she has centered that growth around a deep belief in the power of education to transform the lives of our students. Please join me in welcoming our 17th president, Dr. Lesley Hallick.
Welcome, everyone. And to the class of 2021, especially, congratulations. We're so proud of you. Before we move forward, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the history of the land on which I am standing. I am fortunate to be in the middle of Forest Grove, a beautiful community that includes our campus, the town, surrounding farms, forests, and wetlands, with the Pacific coast and the mountains in the distance. Pacific University has been here for 172 years, but we're pausing today to remember the native peoples who were here for thousands of years before us. This was the land of the Tualatin Kalapuyas, a people who are now one of the confederated tribes of Grand Ronde. And because we are celebrating virtually, I would also invite each of you to learn about the rich history of the land on which you stand, wherever you might be, and to reflect on the Native people who called that land home. A task force of Native and non-Native faculty, staff, and students was established in 2018 at Pacific to reflect on how we might best approach this acknowledgement endeavor. That task force has now evolved to be a formal part of our shared university governance. It is known as the Indigenous Engagement Committee. This is one example of the increased study of Indigenous peoples and their culture at Pacific. We've also been fortunate enough to be federally designated an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution. That mouthful is abbreviated ANAPISI, and recently we received a $1.2 million grant from the Department of Education for our ANAPISI program. Land acknowledgements are becoming more frequent at university ceremonies, but when we embarked upon this endeavor, we did not want it to be a token statement. We hoped instead that the process of developing it would create an opportunity to think about and strengthen our relationship with Indigenous peoples going forward. As you probably know, Pacific began as a school founded by missionaries. Their purposes were both laudable and in some cases very harmful. They strove to make education accessible to those who would not otherwise have been able to attend school. But they also sought to replace Native culture with their own through the use of Indian schools. One of the legacies of the settlements in this area is that the Tualatans were forced to move away to a reservation. The last Native Tualatan speaker passed away 80 years ago. However, the tribes survived and kept many of their traditions, sometimes against great odds. Today, the tribes in this region are vibrant, creative, and very much alive. Perhaps the best advice I received was that land acknowledgement is a verb, not a noun. Over time, we hope to continue to change and grow our relationship with the Grand Ronde and to deepen the ways in which we honor the Kalapuyas and Chinooks and the other Indigenous peoples of the Willamette Valley. Let us also acknowledge that each of our graduates have reached this point today largely because of those who have taught and supported you. We have a remarkable faculty at Pacific, and they are here because they have dedicated their hearts and lives to the promise of your education, as well as to the process of your growth and development. It is to a great extent through their collective efforts in support of your education that we are all here today. My sincere thanks to all of Pacific University faculty for a job well done. Likewise, I know you're all aware that this journey was also made possible by the love and support of your family and friends. Your parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, spouses, partners, or significant others, children, and friends. These people all believe in you. They're incredibly proud of you, and they wish you well. Remember this and draw on the power of this support as you move forward in life and face its inevitable challenges. Normally, I would invite all of these supporters to stand so that you graduates could see the support that surrounds you and in turn share their thanks. Instead, today, I encourage you to take time to thank those people who have helped you reach this point. Write them a note, give them a call, send them a text, or even just a note of thanks in the comments below. Graduates, I am delighted to celebrate you today. A Pacific degree is a very special achievement, and the circumstances of our times make your achievement all the more impressive. You are going out into a world in the midst of change and transition in so many different ways. And I have faith that the tenacity, the perseverance, the flexibility, and frankly, the resilience that you have demonstrated will carry you forward as leaders and lifelong learners in your career and in your communities. I'm tremendously proud of each of you. We have watched you go through this journey, and I can honestly say that the Pacific faculty, staff, and members of the Board of Trustees share the same pride I have and the same confidence and optimism that the world will be a better place for having you in it. Commencement gives you and all of us an opportunity to pause, Take a deep breath and celebrate. It's the culmination of countless hours of hard work, sacrifice, and the pursuit of new knowledge. It's an important moment of transition to look back and enjoy the highs and even the lows, or your undergraduate experience it will carry with you as you go out into the world. I have just one request of each of you. It's a request that was made of me at a similar time in my life, and I took it very much to heart. At some point in the future, when you are able, I ask you to find your own way to support and encourage someone else to follow their own educational dreams and help make them possible when they might not otherwise have been. I wish you the very best, and I remind you that you will always be part of the Pacific family. You're students for just such a few short years, but you will be Bachelor alumni forever. Stay in touch and come back and visit us often. We absolutely love to hear your stories and learn of your successes and even commiserate with you occasionally when things take an unexpected turn. It's been a privilege to share this portion of your journey. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you, President Hallick. Each year, the honor of valedictorian is bestowed upon one of the graduates who has achieved the highest grade point average. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the 2021 valedictorian and student speaker, Leiana Petlewski. Leiana is an applied theater and dance double major from Visalia, California. During her time at Pacific, Leiana danced and choreographed for the Pacific Dance Ensemble, played cello and choreographed for the Pacific Symphonic Orchestra, and managed tech for and performed in several theater department shows, including Orlando, in which she played the lead. She also worked for the admissions office as a student representative and tour guide, and for Residence Life as a resident assistant and community assistant. Over the last 2 years, Leiana interned with Converge, a UK-based arts program that aims to serve the mental health community. She helped start the first United States branch by co-facilitating a summer theater course at PCC Rock Creek, worked with their offshoot theater company, In the Moment, while studying abroad at York St. John University, and co-facilitated an online theater course. In the last year, she completed an applied theater social work internship here at Pacific. Leiana is the recipient of the Harvey W. Scott and Judith Scott Walter Scholarship, as well as theater, dance, and music talent scholarships. She has also directed for and had original work performed during various theater department events. Following graduation, Leiana is moving closer to Portland with some friends and a cat to pursue a career in theater and dance performance. In doing so, she'll strive to find intersections between the arts and all other aspects of life, explore the relationship between the universal and the particular, and work to make the arts more accessible and available to all. Please help me welcome Leiana Petlewski.
I learned a lot by studying theater, dance, and music over the last 4 years. Most importantly, I learned how to tell stories. Stories others have written, stories that are still in the making, and stories that I have lived and experienced. Our stories make us who we are, and the most powerful thing we can do is make sure that our stories get told. And more than that, we must no longer perpetuate violence with our silence, but speak up and make sure everyone's story gets told. Not just the ones of the straight cis white men whose stories have already been told for hundreds of years. Our stories are painted with all colors of the rainbow, all shades of black and brown, and include people of all abilities. They're texturized by happiness, pain, elation, grief, surprise, success, and fierce determination, and they deserve to be told. Not only for our sake, but for the sake of those who came before us, those around us, and those who will come after us. Because by sharing our stories, we let the world know not only who we are, but that we are proud of who we are. By sharing our stories, we can reach out and make connections with each other. These connections allow us to unite together not by keeping silent and quashing our differences like some may ask, but by accepting, honoring, and celebrating them. By making space for all stories to be told and truly listening, we can work together to turn thoughts into action and action into change, the kind of change that the world demands right now. The idea of change may feel daunting. I know it does to me, and after this year, I find it hard to be positive and hopeful. The cynic in me says that all of this is pointless and that there's nothing I can do to change the world around me. I could stand here and sugarcoat the fact that these unprecedented times are challenging, but I don't think you want to hear that just as much as I didn't want to write something like that. The truth of it is that this year has been hard and exhausting and disappointing in a lot of ways. It was often characterized by events more tragic than anything I could have imagined. At times, a lot of times, really, I saw in both myself and others a sense of hopelessness and anger, and I want to validate that, all of it. We deserve to feel angry and upset at the hand we've been dealt. It doesn't seem fair, and it's not. But even through all this, we are here today celebrating something that is a huge accomplishment all on its own, let alone right now. I am so proud of all of us for where we are today. And in the words of Elle Woods, we did it. There are times when it may have felt pointless and arbitrary. I know that for me, putting on Zoom plays didn't seem like the answer amidst the current events. However, just by being here, by continuing to create and learn, and most of all, support each other in that process, we are showing the world how strong and resilient and determined we are to make this our time and to share our stories. What else is there to do but continue? That support and determination is one of the most beautiful things I've seen in my entire life. Even in the midst of my anger and frustration and at times despair, I saw such beauty in the people and the life around me. Beauty like that gives me hope every single day. Harvey Milk said, "I know that you cannot live on hope alone, but without it, life is not worth living." I think he was right. As integral as hope is to all aspects of life, hope is not enough to make the change this world so desperately needs and the change we so intensely deserve. But that hope, coupled with our fierce determination and resilience, will be unstoppable. I truly believe that we have the ability to create change in the name of hope. And if we can do that, well, then our stories are just beginning.
Thank you, Leiana. For those words, you have represented your fellow students and the university with distinction. We are all very proud. It is now my pleasure to introduce Rebecca Schoon, who will present the commencement address. Rebecca joined the Pacific faculty in the fall of 2018 after earning her PhD in health policy with an emphasis in international health at Oregon State University. Since joining Pacific, she has taught courses that introduce students to the wide range of challenges in public health, including the complex social, political, and economic factors that affect community well-being. She has recently established a partnership with the University of Namibia to launch a new travel course for Pacific students to study public health delivery in an international context. Her prior fieldwork includes designing and delivering health education curriculum in Ethiopia, consulting on health development projects in Haiti, and lecturing a research capacity building program for physicians and nurses in Vietnam. Her research interests focus on incorporating community voice into health policy making. She is currently partnering with Healthcare for All Oregon on a project to solicit community preferences around universal health care to assist the Oregon legislature as it evaluates the feasibility of creating a statewide universal health care program. Please join me in welcoming Professor Rebecca Schoon.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. I'm so honored to be able to represent our faculty in speaking to you all today. Now, as a professor of public health, part of me suspects that what you really want to hear from me is an update on when we will be able to return to pre-pandemic life. I will get there, but I have some other thoughts to share first. Because in public health, we spend our time thinking about how to create healthy communities. So it was natural for me to reflect on our community here at Pacific University. And the foremost thing that came to my mind, the things that make Pacific University so special, are our relationships. The close-knit campus means that family-like friendships are forged under the cherry blossoms in the spring, in your residence halls, at your sporting events, in your clubs. And small class sizes allow us faculty to get to know your individual passions and curiosities. So what happens to our community then when a challenge like a global pandemic disrupts our norms and ravages our rhythms? When headlines of loss are personal, directly affecting us and those around us? As a community, we have experienced struggle together. But as I reflected on the weight of that, I was also flooded with thoughts of how the strange strain of these times have allowed deeper aspects of our community to emerge. While we were physically distanced, our Zoom classrooms in some ways brought us closer into each other's lives. We were connected not just as faculty and students, but as people navigating very unfamiliar terrain, including unreliable internet connections and computer crashes. We met each other's pet cats and dogs, and I should note some snakes too. We saw each other's piles of laundry, or at least some of you saw mine. We traded coping mechanisms and gathered strength from knowing we were going to get through this together. We know this has been hard on you, but going through tough times and experiencing struggle is not failure. In fact, it's these very moments that we learn the essential truth that we need each other. And it's precisely in these moments that we get to feel and experience the truth that people will show up for us. And I have seen our Pacific community show up for each other with such kindness, such grace, such compassion. We've seen you show empathy for your fellow classmates and for your faculty, which has been appreciated. We've seen you develop such admirable resilience, while also advocating for your needs, asking for help, which is a vital skill that many of us still struggle with well into our more aged years. So when I think about what a healthy community looks like, I have a newfound appreciation that it looks like a community banding together to keep each other safe, to support each other's well-being. Now, these qualities aren't just token ideas that should be taken for granted. These are the essential bedrock of healthy, thriving communities. In fact, these are the most important values that you can bring with you into our world right now. They are even more important than the vocabulary terms that we forced you to memorize a few weeks ago for your finals. But not to denigrate those vocabulary lists and research assignments, because it's also in a moment like this when I look around and I see the power of a liberal arts education. I see how social sciences can help explain the complex headlines with which our world is grappling, how art provides communal inspiration and expression, how storytelling builds empathy. And we've all lived through one of the greatest achievements in the history of natural sciences in developing, in record speed, a set of vaccines that, yes, will deliver us to pre-pandemic life, or very, very close to it. So as you now leave Pacific, equipped with your academic specializations and a community ethic of compassion and care, I have one last sentiment to share with you. Many of my students have heard me say in class that the world isn't the way it is just because it's natural or inevitably so. The world is the way it is because of a long series of human decisions. And I know I speak for our faculty and our staff and administration in saying that it is our greatest source of confidence in the future that you, our Pacific University graduating class of 2021, are next in line to help make those decisions. That you are now poised, as our university mission statement declares, to think, care, create, and pursue justice in our world. We can't wait to see how you will carry these values forward. Congratulations, class of 2021. We are all so proud of you. We will miss seeing you, and we will always be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schoon, for that inspiring message. And now for the part of the ceremony you've all been waiting for, the presentation of degrees. At this time, I call on our deans to present the candidates for undergraduate degrees.
President Hallick, I'm pleased to present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts in the College of Arts and Sciences. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Pacific University and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
President Hallick, I'm pleased to present the candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Music Education in the College of Arts and Sciences. This student has completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Pacific University, and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidate, the degree Bachelor of Music Education. Graduate, you may now move the tassel to your left.
President Hallick, I am pleased to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Music Therapy in the College of Arts and Sciences. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree of Bachelor of Music Therapy. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
President Hallick, I am pleased to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in the College of Arts and Sciences and the College of Optometry. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Pacific University, and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree of Bachelor of Science. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
President Hallick, I'm pleased to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Social Work in the College of Arts and Sciences. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree of Bachelor of Social Work. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
President Hallick, I am pleased to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Accountancy in the College of Business. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Pacific University and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree Bachelor of Accountancy. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the College of Business. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Pacific University, and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree Bachelor of Arts. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
President Hallick, I'm pleased to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the College of Education. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Pacific University, and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
Hallick, I'm pleased to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Education in the College of Education. These students have completed the course of instruction provided by Pacific University and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees to receive this degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Pacific University, and on behalf of our faculty, I confer upon you, the named candidates, the degree of Bachelor of Education. Graduates, you may now move your tassels to the left.
Congratulations again to all our graduates for your outstanding achievements. We are very proud of each of you and wish you the very best as you go forth and make your impact on the world.